us tonight.
You. It's a pleasure
Now, Always Outnumbered features yourself and Lawrence Fishburne and Cicely Tyson. And in reading the notes about this picture, which premieres on Saturday, you play a restaurant owner. You own a diner.
No, it's not exactly a restaurant.
A diner, huh?
Yeah, it's a little diner. And I don't consider myself an actress yet. I think I've got quite a ways to go.
Have you seen the picture?
I'm still dipping my toe in.
Have you
I've seen a couple of spots, yeah.
And what did you think of you the first time you saw you in these scenes?
I'm still getting used to looking at myself.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of watching myself, even performing. It's just something I think that some artists it's just weird.
Most artists do not go and see, like James Garner was here the other night. Most of the pictures that he made and stuff for television, he does not watch.
I'm glad to hear that, because I thought it was, I thought it was just me, but I'm not real keen on doing that.
And had you had any experience in restaurant work at all in your life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was a waitress when I was in college, and that was, just a crazy experience, on campus. I served my friends, and I was a soda jerk, and I applied for a job as a waitress, actually, before I got my first singing job.
And you did not go to school here in California, I read. Your family sent you back?
No, I went to school back east.
You went to a small preparatory school back east? What was the name of that?
That was Northfield. It's now called the Northfield Mount Herman School. Very stuffy, traditional, especially at the time I was going, very stuffy, traditional type of campus. Very good school, but uptight. I'd say a little on the uptight side.
Would uptight equal strict?
Ooh, yeah. Very strict, and I'll tell you how strict it was.
Okay.
You had to have a house mother in the room when you had a date. They were called parlor dates. And the young man would come into the dorm, and you'd sit there in the living room, and the house mother would kind of walk around very...
You're looking at this guy's teeth, so to speak.
Yeah, and she would always let you know that she was there, so you never had privacy with your...
And could you not go out with this young man to a movie?
You could. It was Saturday... No, you couldn't do that. Saturday nights, you were relegated to the campus, the boy camp, our brother campus.
Oh, so you were all females in one school?
It was all a girls' school. Well, yeah. And it was a real experience.
But didn't you find, because I went to an all-guys school, a prep school in Milwaukee, a Jesuit high school, and didn't you find, as you were pursuing that education in high school, that it was kind of nice not to have the distraction of the opposite gender around during your schooling days?
Well, when I look back on it, yeah, I guess. Plus, I wasn't really into boys then anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. I was not real excited by them at all, and I remember we kind of had to go socialize on Saturday nights, and that was when I experienced my first kiss, and I was devastated.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
What was devastating about it?
It was horrible. He didn't know what he was doing.
Well, well, none of us do then, for God's sake. We all have to learn.
Well, but I must have known.
Yeah,
that
right.
He didn't know what he was
big
doing.
chief kisser, Natalie Cole, sure.
I was just not.
And like, would your parents come to visit you when you were at school there?
I don't remember, because I'll tell you, I was there probably a year and a half. I don't think I finished my first 2 years totally, because my father died in the midst of that period. So I didn't finish my sophomore year. I went back for a semester, and then I just needed to be home. I wanted to be home.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. You missed your pop, huh?
Yeah.
How well did you know him? He passed away when you were a teenager,
I was
15 years old.
Yeah, I just turned 15. It was 9 days after my 15th birthday, February 15th. And, the memories I have of my dad, it's really interesting to me because they're all about activities, things that we did together. I don't remember my dad as being a big talker, necessarily. At least he and I had a communication that was different. I was a tomboy, and he saw that I liked to do a lot of things that he liked to do. So he was very sports. I was into sports. He was into cars. I was into cars. Whatever he was into, I was into. Yeah. I was a typical daddy's girl, but I was also, I liked to be real active. And, we watched boxing and wrestling and baseball. And so I was like a son until he had a son, And, but I don't remember him sitting down and,
heart-to-heart talk and...
No, I think it was, I don't know, it was like something else that was going on. between him
And when did you know that your dad was a big... I mean, your dad was a television pioneer. He was one of the first African Americans to have a show that played on the TV networks, and he was very, very popular in nightclubs. When did you know that your dad was a star?
When I grew up. I think that I just was a little baffled, and some of it was fun, but I didn't know just what it meant. I don't really think I knew the impact of what it was all about until I grew up and decided to go into the same business.
Right, yeah.
If I had done something else, I probably would not have felt the impact as much.
And did you find that your dad had died when you were away at school?
Yeah, that was... I had seen him several weeks before, and he had gotten sick in a very short period of time. And from September to February, in that period, I was home for Christmas, and that's when I saw him. And he had, the time I'd seen him before that was he took me to school to register. That was a lucky, great day. My dad took me to
registration day, sure,
yeah.
sure.
And he was healthy, and if he was sick, he hid it very well. But he looked healthy. He was in pretty good shape. And when I saw him again Christmas, he looked like...
Not so good, huh?
He had aged 30 years. I mean, he looked like a 75-year-old man. It was pretty amazing. And those kinds of memories is what really, you know, puts it all in, you know, perspective. And, you know, I still miss him, you know, in many ways.
When you made the record Unforgettable, when you made the album, you do the title song and they interweave your dad's great classic recording of that, and you, when you heard that in the phone, while you were making that record, what went through your mind?
I think it was like being in a haze. We were all in a state of surreal in that studio. We really were. We had no idea what we were doing. We did not realize that it would have this kind of impact. We thought that here was a wonderful team of people, producers, arrangers, musicians, who decided to do something artistic for us. It was kind of like we're going to do this for Dad, you know, for people who loved him. Musicians that were on the session said they had played with him, you know, 30 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. And the record company also felt, okay, it'll sell maybe, if we're lucky, 1 million to the jazz sentimentalists, you know, to the fans of Nat King Cole.
Or the old fogies who,
yeah. But we did not know. It changed, for many of us, it changed our life. It definitely changed mine. I mean, it changed my life.
How so?
It took me to a level of, first of all, musicianship that I never knew that I could even rise to. It took me to a level of meeting and interacting with people that I probably never would have if it hadn't been for this music. It gave me a respect in this business that I was quite humbled by, because of where I'd come from to get to that point, to get to this point.
Also know that you carry the flame. For
I
those
didn't
of
want
us
to think
who,
about that part.
well, but you do, for those of us who remember how great it was when he sang.
Again, like I said, I didn't realize he was so big until I grew up and started doing this similar thing. And when I was doing R&B and pop for, you know, 15 years before this album, I had a great time. I was having a wonderful career, but there was a level there that I hadn't touched, and I touched it with this record.
Well, you touched us too. Anyway, I want to talk to you about your wild days at the University of Massachusetts, UMass, in the 1960s and 70s. We're chatting with Natalie Cole. She'll appear on the HBO motion picture called Always Outnumbered. It premieres on Sunday. We'll be right back with Natalie and you on the toll-free after this break.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and...
With Natalie Cole, here is Jeff on the toll-free in Clarington, Ohio. Hi, Jeff, and welcome to CBS Late Night.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir.
Miss Cole, this is a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you had not gotten into singing like your father, what profession would you have done?
Oh, I wanted to be a psychologist. That's what I went to school for.
Was that your major at UMass?
Yes. Yeah, I majored in psychology, child psychology. Yeah.
And, well, you're a mom, so you probably use some of that.
A little bit, and a little bit doesn't help. I need a lot more.
much of what you learned in courses in psychology are you able to translate child psychology into dealing with kids, either your own kids or their friends?
I think probably one of the most important things that I have with my son is that we are friends. I mean, we're very close. And sometimes too much honesty is just too much, but I have been, you know, pretty honest with him.
How old is your boy now?
He's 20.
Oh, well, you're past the hurdle.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yeah, no,
you know, because I got into trouble past 22.
Oh, okay,
You see.
okay.
So you never know. But I think that he is able to, I think he's pretty much able to come to me and tell me a lot of things that I know when I was growing up I wouldn't have told my mom.
Like? By the way,
maybe that I tried a drug, or that I was thinking about having sex, as many of these, you know, they don't necessarily go running off to mom and dad saying, guess what do you think? You know, or what happened in school. Maybe a guy came to school with a knife. I mean, you know, I think my son doesn't think of me as an old fuddy-duddy. I think he thinks of me as a person that is kind of
savvy mom,
knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Of course, he helps keep me knowing what's going on. But, you know, I think that's my particular thing with him.
So, Jeff, how much did you like Unforgettable?
Oh, that song really changed. I was always into country music. That's my favorite. But I think it was at the Grammys the year that her album came out, Unforgettable, and she was singing it, and they showed her father. I knew of her father from just Christmas tapes over the years, where there'd be different artists, and he would always be on some of the cassettes. So when she sang that, that really brought me into a whole new group of like pop and you know, different music.
Great.
Very good, Jeff. I'm glad you called, and thanks for watching this.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Good night, young man.
Good night.
What did the college experience do for you in terms, I mean, you met people that you'd not met before, and from a small prep school, now you're at UMass, which is a big school, 25,000 students.
Right.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was kind of like being in a city.
Yeah.
It was a huge campus. It was 20,000 students. But inside that 20,000 students was a body of black students, which was only 200. And that's where I think I really found my identity. That's one of the main things that college did for me, because I really didn't have the normal exposure of, you know, life until I got to UMass. And it was, you know, you overcompensate. You end up, you know, it's like getting candy or something for the free. It's almost like a freedom.
But how were those folks that you met at UMass different from the people that you knew up until that time?
Oh, boy. Well,
their fathers weren't singing in TV stars, for number one.
Yeah, that's for sure. They were from, some of them, many of them were from lower to middle class homes. They were, a lot of people were from the, what we now call inner city, Roxbury, and
probably
that area around Boston. Many on scholarship. I was one of the few. Maybe 5 of us were not on scholarship. It just opened my eyes to a whole new world of people that I really worked very hard. I wanted them to accept me. Instead of me accepting them, I wanted them to accept me.
And why would you have the feeling that maybe they weren't going to accept you?
There was a lot of prejudging when I got there. There was, you know, my reputation preceded itself. I didn't have a reputation, but the fact that I was the daughter of...
Kid,
Yeah, so there was a whole presumption about who I was and what I was like.
Miss Goody Two Shoes, Miss Rich Pants, Beverly Hills Sweetheart,
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And actually, the black community accepted me quicker, which I thought was maybe a little extraordinary, because I would think when I think of it, I think that maybe they would have been the last to accept me, because they, you know, could have been...
And how did you know then that you had overcome whatever obstacles you felt were in the way of you identifying with these folks that you met? How did you know, hey, these people accept me for who I am?
Well, I got involved. Whenever, that's what I mean by overcompensating. When they asked me to do something, okay, sure, you know, you want to march the student administration building? Sure, we'll protest it, yeah. We'll get a big afro? Sure, right on the front cover of the collegiate campus newspaper. There I am amidst the 200 black students, you know, marching.
Huge.
Huge afro, working for the Black Panther Party. Oh, please. My mother died. I didn't send you to college, you know, but it was such a wonderful experience. I felt really in here, a part of something. It reminds me of when I went to South Africa a few years ago, and Winnie Mandela came to my show. And when I walked into my dressing room after the show, she was standing there, and she said to me, "Welcome home." And to me, that's such a powerful statement. It's a feeling that we need more often as a people, as a race.
Let me ask you something, and I can't walk in your shoes, you know that. Do you feel more at home in Africa than you do in the United States?
No.
Or was it just the symbolism of what she said?
It wasn't so much the physical, although it is a beautiful country. It was just how far we've come. And we shouldn't feel so separate, but you do.
I understand.
You know, our story is like no other. We don't have reference. We don't have family trees. I have to look under rocks and bushes for my family tree. And I think that we have been separated in such a way that we feel more at home in a place that maybe we shouldn't feel as home, as much at home.
I understand.
You know, but this is all we know. This is all we know. But the opportunity and the chance to be in Africa, South Africa, Western Africa, wherever it may be, I'm telling you, the feeling was overwhelming. I was not expecting it. And that would, I'd say, transcend, you know, 20-something years ago. When I was in college, that was a feeling I wasn't expecting. It was a feeling of acceptance. It was a bonding. It was just, it was great.
Almost spiritual.
It was, absolutely.
Let me take a fast break. We're talking here with Natalie Cole. Always Outnumbered appears on HBO on Saturday night. You'll check the listings for the exact time in your town. And no, we don't have a clip. We'll be right back after this break. I'm laughing because Miss Cole just said, you know, she loves our set. It's so pretty. I said, I'll have it boxed up and sent right to your house.
It's so cool.
Here is Mary on the toll-free in Miami. Hi, Mary, and thanks for joining us. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello there, Mary.
I just wanted to say that I love your show.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure to talk with both of you.
Thanks, Mary.
Question for Natalie is, I went through some rough times earlier as drugs and alcohol were concerned, and have recently quit and have been tempted lately. I just wondered if you had some tips or some advice to give me as to how to stay clean and how you've managed to do it for so long and look so fine.
Before she answers, how long you clean, Mary?
5 years.
What's the temptation, Mary?
I think probably just some really bad life troubles. My parents have recently died, those kinds of things.
Everybody's parents die, Mary. It's very, very difficult. But as a man once said to me, Mary, you know, you can't drown your troubles, because if they're real troubles, they know how to swim. But let me have Natalie speak to you, because she has wrestled that demon to a draw.
Yeah.
This is true. My only problem is that I'm it. I'm the only person in my family that's left.
So you have no family?
No family and only 30.
Okay, you have no children, you're not married?
Correct.
Okay. What do you do?
I had been working in many and several different jobs, and now this has happened. I'm not doing anything but trying to clear up estate matters and trying to figure out where I'm going to live and what I'm going to do, and everything's just up in the air.
You know what? You got to get some, you have too much time on your hands. You are immersed in doing just this one thing, which is getting ready to be your past. And part of your past is the struggle that you've just been victorious with for 5 years. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Every day you make a choice, Mary, and I would just wish and hope that you would make a choice, even if we call it the minute program, minute by minute, to just say, right now, I'm not going to do whatever it is that you're talking about. Is it a substance abuse? Is it drinking?
At the time, 5 years ago, it was both.
Yeah. Well, I had both. I had both. And it does become, especially now that you've got 5 years. Did you ever go on a program? The 12-step program is a wonderful program. You can look it up in the yellow pages for Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcanon. You can call a friend, and they can make some calls for you. The worst thing that you can do is shut down. The worst thing you can do is close yourself off.
When you say minute by minute, is it that way for you? Are you still day by day by day?
No, I have other struggles now.
Yeah, okay.
You know, but it does get better, Mary. It really, really does. And this is to test you. This is probably one of the biggest tests you'll ever have. And you're not alone. If you would call right now, if you would go to the phone and call AA, believe me, they'll put you in touch with some really cool people. AA is full of cool people. They're not a bunch of drips. They've been there. They are very,
I've
very
never
good
been a
people.
very religious person. Does that make a difference?
Nope.
You don't have to be religious at all. But I guarantee you that you'll get a whole lot out of it, you know, because there's a lot of people out there who started off as not having any kind of spirituality at all. But it's really the human touch that creates a spirituality that it sounds like you really need. Don't shut yourself off from people.
Mary, look them up right now in the phone book and call them. They operate 24 hours a day. Mary, you've got 5 years of good time here.
Don't throw it away.
And you know how great the last 5 years have been. And make the call tonight, Mary.
Okay.
Look them up in the phone. They're in the phone book, AA, and they'll take your call.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Mary, have a good evening.
God bless you. God bless you, Mary.
Thank you very much.
I'll be praying for you, really.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night,
Bye-bye.
Mary. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, we'll be watching on Saturday night when this movie comes on, and I'm going to be watching with a very critical eye now.
I bet you will. And when I come back, I'm sure you'll let me have it.
Well, no, I won't let you have it. I'll welcome you back here because I've enjoyed meeting you more than I can say.
Oh,
thank you for all the wonderful entertainment, and thanks for sharing your stories about your pop with us tonight.
It's been my pleasure,
okay.
really.
Natalie Cole is the guest. The picture is called Always Outnumbered. It premieres Saturday on HBO. Check the listings in your town for the exact time. Back with Ruth Reichel of the New York Times after this break.